Hello everybody, it's Man Magnus here and welcome back to Buried. Now, a few things first. I will be doing one chapter per episode, and since there's 6 chapters, it means I'll probably have about 6 episodes. And also, I apologize for stuttering and everything in the last video. From before, the things I've changed right now is I'm wearing my glasses, and I have a full night's sleep, 2 bottles of water, and a hot cup of coffee. So yeah, now... Let's see what our decisions were. Let's keep intros and outros to minimum, just for those of you who are listening. So go ahead, get your snacks, your blankets, get comfortable, watch and read along, or just listen with me, and let's get into it with Respect the Dead. You and 36 players left Tony's body where they found it. Interesting. Secrets. We're up front about Tony's death. Okay. Trust. You and 55% told Dennis you believed his story. Curiosity. You and 75% of players went to investigate the ringing sound. Teamwork. You and 64% of players decided to bring Dennis with you. Interesting. Also, I have hid my cursor from recording, so chances are you guys can't see it right now, but in case you can, I apologize. I'll keep working on it. Okay, that looks like a particle accelerator. We're standing on the thin platform of what looks like a fancy subway. The rails look well used but not old. There are small overhead lights that are very dim, as if they are running on emergency power. The dim overhead lights are a blessing, but the size of the place makes me feel vulnerable. Staring ahead, the tunnel seems to be endless and it's almost dizzying. But there's a small light further ahead, and then a space that breaks the monotony of the tunnel's curved surface. Another platform, maybe. Why are we in a subway tunnel? Dennis, what do you think this is? Well, yeah. Dennis doesn't answer. The reality of what we are seeing is sinking in. Whatever this place is, it is buried way underground. That seems impossible to me, making anything that's on the other side of this tunnel dangerous as far as I'm concerned. But of course, we're going to go on. Human curiosity is going to see to that. Also, the ringing noise is louder down here. It's much more solid now, and there's some other sound, something like the faint hum of machinery. What's your take on this, boss? You think we're safe here? Dennis asks. Not at all. This is what I think to myself, but I don't want to let Dennis see that I'm rattled. While he seems to be limping along much better than when we first stumbled into this place, he's still in rough shape. I'm leading him here, and I should probably make him feel confident in that. I think we'll be fine. You reassured Dennis. Too far in to go back, I say. Besides, if we get caught for trespassing, I'm pretty sure we'd slide by. We're good. You're in pain. We've got to find the rest of our crew. They could still be here somewhere. Dennis nods and looks reassured, albeit weak and miserable. From the look of it, we can go either left or right. The left is slightly lit. The right, not so much. This makes me uneasy because I get the sense that one wrong turn in a place like this would have us wandering for hours. Suddenly I jerk my head to the right as I hear an unmistakable sound of someone walking. Did you hear something? I asked Dennis, my eyes strained to see anything in the darkness. Not sure, he says. Maybe. It kind of sounded like footsteps. I wait a moment, but the sound doesn't come again. So those are our options. To the left are flickering lights indicating that we'll at least be able to see. Here, there's also a hum of machinery, a sign of life. To the right, it's just darkness, but we also hear footsteps in that direction. See, if we go left, then there could be no one there. We need someone to help us patch up Dennis, so let's go right. You decide to go into the darkness. If someone's there, they're worth speaking to. Right it is. Exactly. Need help. Well, pictures in this are great. I just having to sit down and draw this. As we leave the glow of electrical lights, things instantly start to feel a bit more sinister. I look at Dennis's injuries again. The gash along his side is inflamed now, and while the bleeding seems to have stopped, the amount that is soaked into his pants and shirt is beyond alarming. How much further can you walk, I ask him. Can you keep going? Yes, Dennis answers. Let's walk into the deep, dark tunnel that has no business being here. He's right. The darkness we find ourselves in is thick, like walking into syrup. I'm reminded of the fear I felt as a child when I go into the basement to fetch tools for my dad. I'm sure there were snakes or spiders or monsters or unimaginable horrors lurking down there. I feel that same way here, walking through the tunnel. That's when I see a human figure, far back in the tunnel, silhouetted in the faint light at the end. He's standing on some other platform up ahead and he likely can't see us. It looks like he might be holding a gun, but it's too dark to be sure. If we stay quiet and we just walk up to him, his reflexes could trigger him to shoot us. But if we yell out, then we'll at least be like alerting him to our presence. And with a gun, you can't be too careful. My voice echoes through the tunnel, bouncing endlessly off the walls. The figure turns towards us and freezes, like a deer sensing danger. Why the hell did you do that? Dennis whispers to me. We don't know who that is. We don't know where we are. I don't know, I say. Maybe he can answer some questions, but that doesn't happen. The person can't see us in the dark, and after a moment, the figure rushes away through a door up ahead. Crap. As we head further into the tunnel, we reach another platform. There's light coming from the platform, but like the overhead lights, they are dim, red emergency lights. I start to wonder if the explosion at the logging site caused a power outage in this place, whatever this place is. Ringing noise that I originally thought was in my head is getting louder. I'm starting to think it's some sort of alarm. But when we come to the large open area ahead in the tunnel, it further resembles a subway station. As much as I try to ignore the reality, it's undeniable. We have stumbled into some sort of high-tech transportation system that is buried beneath the forests of Kentucky. It makes absolutely no sense and creates an entirely new sort of fear as to what the hell we have walked into. I notice that Dennis seems confident though. When we reach the large opening, we have to climb over the rails and up onto the platform. I have to help Dennis over the rails and then up the small utility ladder that is bolted into the opposite side of the travelway. When we reach the large open area, resembling a subway waiting area, he collapses on the floor and lets out a heavy breath. You know what? Dennis says, exasperated. This is ridiculous. I quit. I'm not going any further. On top of worrying about my crew and the madness of whatever we are, of wherever we are, whatever, I'm not in the mood for Dennis to act like a baby. Gotta get a drink of water. Much better. Get up, pull it together, Dennis. It's okay, take it easy, you can do this. Get up, pull it together. I'm ashamed that I'm getting irritated with him. Oh, you think I'm just relaxing here? Yeah, sarcastically. Sorry if I'm slowing your progress. Great plan you got here, by the way. His response makes my blood boil. I don't need this shit from him right now. That's for sure. Yank him up by the collar. If we do that, we'll just friggin' hurt him. Help him up slowly. I can't stand the guilt anymore. A sappy apology comes out of my mouth before I can clamp my lips down against it. I'm sorry, I lost my temper, I said. It was uncalled for, but I'm under some stress here, and I'm sure you can understand. He hesitates for a moment, and I'm sure he'll ignore me, but he surprised me. I get it, he says. Apology accepted. As for me, sorry I was being a jerk. Apparently bleeding out makes me kinda high-strung. Dennis is always high-strung about two harsh words away from trading punches with someone, but I keep that to myself. We exchange an awkward look and put it behind us. It is no different than some argument we may have had on the job site over a few beers. One thing is for sure, I'd much rather be arguing with him over a few beers than here in this nightmare. I reach down, help him to his feet, and when we get ourselves up on the platform, right in front of us there's an entrance to a long hallway exiting the platform area. It's at this point I realize these red emergency lights might be on for someone else who's actually supposed to be here. Like that guy I saw earlier standing on the platform. Sorry, coffee. See, if we yell out again, I don't know what that could do, but staying quiet, once again, he has a gun. Like, whoever has a gun. Like, or may have a gun. Maybe it's not even a gun. Maybe it's just one of those, like, giant flashlights. Maybe it's a baton. You know, we'll yell out. I've been yelling out all the other times. Might as well yell out now. Hello, anyone here? I ask, my voice raised to almost a shout. There's not much of an echo. My voice falls flat like a rock from the sky. I'm almost glad I don't get an answer. Hearing anything else in this hollow silence would have given me a heart attack. The emergency lights continue to flicker overhead, casting a sick sort of pinkish light on everything. My mind is racing with what sort of place this might be. It's obvious that it's meant to be a secret. And if it's supposed to be a secret, and there was a power outage recently, maybe most everyone has been evacuated. But then, why was one person still here? This thought does nothing to make me feel any better as we walk toward the platform exit. We step inside, and it seems just as empty as every other place we've come through. Weakly illuminated by more overhead emergency lights, we're standing inside a hallway that looks surreal for a moment. Ooh, interesting. Why does this look like this looks like a freaking emergency thing for a high school? I'm saying. I've never went to an actual school. The hallway reminds me of a hospital wing, but there's something not quite right about it. It's the first clean and tidy area I've seen since coming into the woods. It looks like it was recently in use despite the dim emergency lights overhead. There are chairs against the wall, and the floor looks well cleaned, and as do the walls. And the ringing noise is definitely coming from here, and a small flashing red light along the ceiling seems to flash along with it. That ringing noise is an alarm, I say, if only to confirm my own thought. But for what? Dennis asks, and then he asks the question. Wait. But what for? Dennis asks, and then asks a question. That has been on my mind since I found this little building in the woods. What the hell is this place? We exchange a look that speaks volumes. We reach the end of the hallway and hear a sound like a large metallic grinding. This is followed by a clicking noise as the unmistakable noise of a generator kicking on. Okay. I don't know what kind of hospital this guy's been to, but yeah. High school, I don't even know. Without warning, the facility jolts to life. The red glow of the emergency lights is suddenly replaced by a bright white fluorescent one. That mechanical hum is oddly comforting. Somehow the power being back on urges us on. It's then that I notice the ringing noise has stopped, so it had been an alarm. But for what? Just the power failure? We head down the hallway, the electrical hum of the lights sounding eerie overhead. Other than that, this place is dead quiet. The hall is about 100 feet long, with two main doors. One door opens onto a large room that looks like a conference room with a whiteboard and papers strewn about. Across the hallway, another door looks like a laboratory of sorts. Dennis slumps against the wall in defeat and lets out a scary-sounding chuckle. Something funny, I ask, as a dark and brooding panic starts to grip me. Dennis just keeps chuckling as he slides down to the floor. I'm just going to sit here while you look around, he says. There is a look in his eyes that reminds me far too much of a dead animal on the side of the road. See, I like science and stuff, so I'm gonna enter the lab, because I don't know anything about, like, economics and stuff. Ooh, okay. Definitely genetic testing equipment. Walking inside, I see a small vial and glass containers held in a clear glass case. Everything is either glass or silver, and I instantly feel like I'm dirtying the place up. I notice several test tubes in a glass case, as well as some sort of tube system that seems to have a clear fluid trapped inside it. In the back corner, I find a laptop in screensaver mode. laptop will give us more information. I hit the enter key and a plain gray background pops up. There are several icons and folders to choose from. I click on a folder labeled Test 1.5 Ethos. A few documents are filled with formulas and names I mostly don't understand, but there is one thing that is easy to understand. Things that make my blood go cold. Subject number 6, cause of death, embolism or an aneurysm or both. Ideas for new delivery mode. Spherical liquid. Induced comatose state first. TerraCore Corporation equals possible plutonium supplier. Now see, I'm kind of wanting to go out of the lab to check on Dennis, but then at the same time I want to look at the test tubes. I can't help but check out the test tubes. They're all filled with varying green and light blue fluids. One of them looks to have some sort of glowing dirt resting on the bottom of it. Another holds what looks like a grasshopper submerged in liquid, only it's the strangest grasshopper I've ever seen. At first it looks like it's expanding and contracting like a blowfish, then it contracts so much that it vanishes completely. As I look closer, it springs back into existence in a completely different test tube, and I'm embarrassed when I actually jump back. I took another look around the lab trying to piece together what might have been taking place here. I smell some sort of chemical in the air. It makes me think that someone has used the lab recently. Outside in the hallway, I hear Dennis grunting. I head out of the room and see him still seated on the floor. But I don't get very far because as I exit, a man comes rushing around the corner with an automatic rifle in his hands. Oh no. I don't think my hard hat's gonna save me from that. It's hard to look beyond his rifle, but the man carrying it is young, with messy dark hair. His skin is so pale I wonder if he lives down here. He has the look of a guy who's been cooped up for a little too long. He doesn't seem like the kind of person I'd trust with a gun in a stressful situation. As he sees us in the doorway, he screams and brings the gun up. It is aimed directly at my head. Dennis jumps up and stands next to me, like he's ready to run for it. I recognize him by his height and build. He's the person I could barely see back in that dark tunnel. Now, put your hands in the air. If that thing's aimed right at our head. I put my hands in the air, surprised at how natural it feels to go into this surrendering state. Maybe it's because this feels like a dream. Maybe it's because I feel like I'll snap awake if the maniac pulls the trigger. I recognize you. You stomped around and set off the security mics in the entrance. What? I asked, unable to think of anything else to say. Who are you? The man asks. Did you do this? The man eyes us both and sees something in his eyes that unsettles me. He is scared, but there's something else. We're nobody, don't shoot. We're just loggers. Let's tell him the truth. His eyes look distant for a moment, and he says, bullshit. But for some reason, I'm pretty sure he knows I'm telling the truth. Somebody knocked the power up, the man says. It's back on now, but it was out long enough. We're in a heap of trouble. Was it you? Who sent you? Look, we don't know what you're talking about, Dennis says. Something happened out in the woods. Are you alone? Are there any others with you? The armed man asks, thrusting the gun in my face. How the hell did you get in this situation? I think to myself, if only I had left that damned ringing noise alone, we wouldn't be here. I'm not really sure if we want to give this guy information yet. We don't know anything about him. Then again, he might have answers. We're just looking for our crew. We're looking for our crew. We have other crew members that we can't find, I say. Your crew, he asks, seeming confused. If this man thinks that we're nuts, there's no telling what he might do. The fact is, he looks a little crazy himself, making the situation even hairier. But how did you get in here, the man asks. I point down the hallway towards the subway. We came in that way. The doors weren't locked. His expression calms a bit, but I am still very aware of the gun that is leveled less than a foot away from my face. Please put the gun down. You ask the man calmly to put the gun down. The only way I'm putting this rifle down is after I've blown your brains out, the man says. With that, he uses the muzzle of the gun to flip my hard hat onto the floor. It's a childish move, a playground tactic at best, but it's sufficient to show me that he knows he's in control now. He then levels the rifle at Dennis, and I can only assume it's because his wounds make him appear to be weaker of us. The man takes a shaky step forward. Dennis looks back and forth between the barrel and the gun and me, his eyes pleading for help. Step between Dennis and the gun. Step between the gun and Dennis. Before I'm fully aware of what I'm doing, I step out in front of Dennis. The barrel of the rifle nearly touches my chest now. Both Dennis and the man seem a little confused at my action, and I do my best to swallow down my fear. I don't know what's going on here, I said, but we are here by mistake. Well, you have no business here, the man says, but now that power's on, I think you might be too late anyway. For what? I ask, but he doesn't answer me. Instead, he steps forward and actually pushes me backward at the end of his rifle. The man then repeats a question he asked before, one that makes no sense and honestly makes me think he might be a little crazy. Who sent you? He asks. You assholes from the Pentagon? I'm not quite sure how to take this question. Is this guy joking? Yes, I'm the president. No. What the hell are you talking about? No, I say. We're just loggers. Something blew up and my friend got hurt. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Likely story, the man says, but I see a flicker of recognition in his face that makes me think he might believe us. Still, his grip on his gun is as tight as ever. The look on his face makes me think he'll shoot at any moment. You both just stand still, he says. Sooner or later, someone will come along and I'll turn you over. He again thrusts the gun forward as if it has an invisible bayonet on it. There's no need for that, I tell him. I have no guarantee he won't pull the trigger. Look, Dennis says, we don't have any trouble here. We're just as confused as you are. Then in a moment so fast, I just about miss it. Dennis lunges forward. I have no idea how he's moving so fast. Just 30 seconds ago, I was worried about how close to death he looked. But now he's moving lightning fast, his left arm coming down the barrel of the gun like a club. In the commotion, the man does pull the trigger. The booming noise is deafening, and there's a moment where I think I've been hit. It takes the clanging noise of the round tearing into the floor at my feet to help me realize I have not been shot. I look to the floor and see where the shot missed my right leg by less than 3 inches. I'm paralyzed, in shock for a moment, and Dennis and the man fight over possession of the rifle. There's a fire extinguisher on the wall I could use as a bludgeon, but I might not have enough time to grab it before Dennis is overpowered. No, punch him! Dennis has the man pinned to the floor, but isn't strong enough to keep him down. As I fall to the floor to help, the barrel of the rifle swings up in front of my face, a reminder of how close I came to being shot. On my knees now, I deliver a hard, stiff punch to the man's face. I don't punch someone often, never really. I'm not usually the brawling type. Still, it is apparently effective. The man's head snaps back hard and his grip on the gun loosens. Dennis grabs the gun and falls to the floor, clearly winded and in pain. Our attacker is immobilized and I can feel a shift in the situation. Yet, although he is basically harmless now, I feel the need to pummel him, a desire that builds with each second I look at him. No, we're gonna stand up and step back. We need answers. He's definitely out now. No threat. Or at least, that's what I think. But he surprised me by mustering up one more swift kick in my direction, connecting with my forehead. That son of a... My eyelid swells to the size of a grape almost, immediately. It seems like this last attack is more to spite me than to defend himself. I stumble back and ready myself for another round of blows, but he just slouches onto the floor. He's done. Dennis instantly hands the rifle to me, and I take it with shaky hands. I can't believe you stepped between me and that gun, Dennis says. He could have killed you. I was pretty sure he wouldn't, I say, although I had known no such thing. Still, thanks, man. Well, that was some heroic stuff. You would have done the same, right? Dennis says nothing, his eyes look down at the floor. What do we do now, boss? Dennis asks. We've come this far and I want answers. I sense that Dennis does too. I walk over and pick up my heart off the floor. After placing it on my head, I turn towards the man. We get answers from this guy. No answers, the man says. I don't have any. Next time I won't just hit you, I say, plunging the rifle towards him. Now get up. He obeys quickly, but his legs are wobbly and he leans against the wall for support. I can feel my swollen eyelid from where he kicked me earlier. I just hope it doesn't get so bad it affects my sight. Okay, let's move, I say, pointing the gun further down the hallway. We've done this We've come this far, and I'm not going to let this guy stop us. We've walked down the hallway until we come to the end. A single elevator waits for us. Its steel sliding doors larger than a normal elevator. As if that guy friggin' kicked me. I'm just saying, like, I probably would have... Well, actually, no. If they had the gun, I would have just friggin' surrendered immediately. But, like, you know, just... as if he friggin' hit the hard hat off. If he hadn't, then I would have been fine. But anyway, what was the other option? Getting shot? I guess a friggin' swollen eyelid is better than a friggin' shot to the chest. Before I get into the elevator with the guy, I think it's wise to learn a bit more about him. I can tell it's making him uncomfortable for me to have the gun. What's your name, I ask. Marcus. And you work here? It's clear that he doesn't want to answer, but he gives us a little nod. We're looking for the rest of our crew. Any idea where they might be, I ask? No, he says curtly, not bothering to elaborate. There's got to be some useful information we can get out of this guy. I just need to know how to dig for it. I need at first a first aid kit from my friend here, I say. Where might I find one? Down on the second floor, he says, but we can't go down there. What's on level 2? He looks at me like I'm an idiot. You must be aware you're inside a classified government facility, he says. It makes sense, but I want to doubt it. Well, I'm sure our government would want you to help save my friend, so take me to the first aid kit. I can't, he says. You don't have any clearance. Hell, I barely have clearance. Then, seemingly to himself, he mutters, I make this place run, and not even a thank you. Just a bunch of restricted access rooms that I'm only allowed to get into with a friggin' chaperone. I interrupt his monologue. We're going to that first aid kit. I could lose my job, he says. I wonder for a moment what sort of trouble I could get in for hitting a government employee. This makes me glad I took it easy on him. Then again, he had come at us with a rifle. It makes me think that things have gone terribly wrong in this place, and that in the explosion in the woods, or whatever the hell had happened, might be linked to it all. I need to convince him to take us to the second floor, but I'm not sure if it would be more productive to threaten him or ask him for sympathy. Ask for help. Threatening him will just put up his guard. Look, I say, it hasn't been the best day. We're just trying to find out what's going on, to find our crew, to survive. I know that isn't a normal situation down here. It looks like all your protocols have been blown to hell. Can you help us out? He looks at me sternly, weighing his options. Okay, he says. Thank you, I say. With an untrusting stare, Marcus walks the elevator door, approaching a small keypad by the doors. He punches in a numerical code on the keypad, and we can hear a slight mechanical hum behind the steel doors. After a few seconds of angry glances and frightened sneers from Marcus, the elevator arrives. The steel door slides open, with a whisper revealing the interior. Excuse me. You gotta stay hydrated when you're reading. It's exhausting. It's exceptionally well lit and looks to be made of stainless steel. Damn. I have expected the thing to take off at the speed of light. There's another small keypad on the front right panel by the door with the options for 3 sub-level floors. Looks like this elevator doesn't go to the surface. So after we get a first aid kit for Dennis, how do we get out of here, I ask. We can't leave, Marcus says. Once the power came back on, the whole place was put into lockdown. What? I shout. Can't you override it? No, it's to prevent anything from getting out. I can't. Marcus looks as deflated as Dennis. We can't get out. We're stuck here. Dennis leans into the corner and almost falls onto the floor. He struggles for the rifle. The struggle for the rifle took a lot out of him. I can see that much on his face. Slowly, we start to move down. The hum and grind of the car's motor fills the space. So we're stuck here forever? Let's have a normal conversation, no threatening. Marcus scowls at me. I think it's a fair question. It doesn't seem unreasonable to assume we won't be able to get it. That he won't be able to get us out. We'll find someone with the access codes and we'll be begging me to figure out how to lift the lockdown. These people think they're so brilliant, but but some of them can barely turn the computer on without help. The top coder in my class at MIT, and I'm stuck living underground, helping idiots who don't even trust me with keys. How big is this place? What goes on here? How big is this place? What goes on here? I think this is more relevant, though I don't think it will give us a lot of information. Shakes his head. You may as well shoot me. I can't tell you. Why not? It's beyond classified, and the things I don't even... and the things I know don't even cover the start of it. What does that mean, I ask, starting to get irritated. It means that even if I wanted to tell you what sort of work is done here, I don't know enough about it. What's your job? That's a fair question. I handle the IT work and make sure the databases are up and running. It's a 24/7 job. I haven't seen sunlight in almost a year. I wonder what staying in a place like this for that long does to somebody's mind. I was recruited, he continues, because of the workload. No one else wants this job, but I don't really mind being by myself. No family. Plus, the IT, it's some crazy shit. Crazy how? This place generates over 100 terabytes of data per day, he answers, getting the slightest bit excited before his face falls again. What happened here? What knocked the lights out? What happened? Well, he doesn't know a lot what's going on here. What knocked the lights out? Because if he had data on it, seems like some sort of power outage, Marcus says. That's all I know. There was an outage, and then what, Dennis asks weakly. Then things got weird. Things got bad. Bad how, I ask. The whole place seemed to shake when the lights went out. I was checking the monitors when it happened, and everything went dead. It took no more than a minute or so before I started hearing the screams. People were being killed by something. I tried getting the security cameras going again, but they only lasted for a bit on the backup systems. But what I saw, what, I asked, feeling a sharp fear worm its way into my guts. Well, that's when I saw on the screens that a little bit of time made no sense, and it made me get the gun from the emergency vault. I think whatever it is still down here. Hold on, I say. There's an emergency vault with a rifle in the same room as the security cameras in this place? Marcus gives me a grin that looks nearly insane. There are guns locked away in every room in this place, just in case, you know. Excuse me, I'm just getting a little bit cold. Just in case of what? So we're still in danger here. Yeah, just in case of what? What kind of... Well... Comes to a stop and the doors slide open. Marcus is out right away without a word. He makes his exit and heads directly for a glassed-in room that's filled with computer monitors and high-end equipment. Dennis and I file out behind him, trying to keep up. As we do, one very alarming question runs through my head. What the hell kind of government facility keeps loaded guns and emergency vaults in every single room? That's a very, very good question. But unfortunately, that's one we'll have to end up having in the next video. So that's the end of Chapter 2. Next time we'll be going into Chapter 3. But before that, I do want to see what our outcomes had. Curiosity. You and 58% of players called out to Marcus when you saw him in the tunnel. Yeah, that's about right. Selflessness. You and 64% of players stepped in front of Vance to protect him from Marcus. Yeah. Mercy. You and 65% of players were easy on Marcus after he surrendered. That means that 35% of people actually ended up just beating the crap out of him? Oh my word. Alright, well that was actually, that felt like a short chapter, just reading, but it's actually been about 30 minutes. So yeah. Thank you all so much for watching the video. If you liked it, hit that like button, or if you just didn't, then go ahead and hit the dislike button. I don't really mind. Like, seriously. And, yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Later, guys.